I've said this, I've been saying this. This is not going to be a blue wave. Right. This is going to be a change wave. People want to throw the old book out and put new people in, and they don't want the tired old politicians. I mean, they're just sick of it, and that's not what Plattner is. It's not what and Tallarico certainly isn't. Rob Sand isn't. Turek, no. These are guys that are connecting, and you look at every step of the way. Even like in Alabama, when we had the Doug Jones primary a couple of Tuesdays ago, there was 116% increase in Democratic turnout in that primary, doubling from 2022, and the Republicans had a 25% decrease in their turnout from 2022. Which
we've seen in Iowa, we've seen it in Texas, we've seen it everywhere that primaries are happening this year. The Republican turnout numbers are in free fall.
So you look at Maine, I think people are on fire to vote in November on the democracy, the Democratic side, the change wave side. And they're not as on fire to go out to and help reelect Susan Collins, clutching her pearls, being all upset about and concerned, but not doing a damn thing about any of it. So no, I still think Maine is in play, and I do not think that in the end. And by the way, it may not be fair. There may be real problems there, but guess what? Guess what?
Yeah.
I think the way the year is shaping up, people are not gonna. I don't think any of that woke stuff and $100 million, just doing culture wars stuff to Tellerico or Telefrico. He's selling merch. He's selling
He's flipped it on its head and he's selling merch about it. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And I think the outside predicates of a change election, as you've talked about a lot, right direction, wrong track polling in this country is so bad. It is. I don't think it's been this bad in our country since Carter, or since 2008, perhaps for a few minutes. But the right direction, wrong track is abysmal. The president's approval numbers are in free fall. They are now approaching the 20s, folks. They're now, we kept saying at 35 will be the bottom. He can't go lower than 35, and now he's creeping below 35. And it's just like all the predicates, all the economic indicators of inflation, prices, polling, all of it is like people want change. They want a reboot, not just shuffling the deck chairs.
And all of it's going to get worse between now and November. I mean, that's the others. I mean, gas prices are not going to go down. They're not. It's just, and instead you're going to get increases in everything now, because as the reserves, pan out and barrels per barrel costs go up, it's going to dramatically drive up gasoline, but everything else, because it all moves on that energy. And so inflation's going to go. I mean, we could be looking at 4 or 5% inflation by the time we get to election day.
Which I was told that when that was happening during Joe Biden, it was the greatest crisis our nation had ever faced, and the world was on fire, and we were all going to die.
But it'll be amazing, and everybody will be cheering, according to our
the dear leader. Yeah, but I think the disconnection. Trump's not going to help the Republican Party at all on this, Joe. He is going to continue to talk about the ballroom and the arch and the reflecting pool, and be mad about the Kennedy Center and all those things. He can't stop himself from being that guy when they desperately need him to stop talking about those things.
No, he can't. No, and they can't either. And I keep circling back to this, but it gets to that, you said he's down to 35 approval. And the question that I always go back to is the one where they asked Republicans, do you think ICE has been overdone it? Do you think it's Goldilocks just right? Or do you think they haven't been brutal enough?
Mm-hmm.
And what you got was about a third of Republicans thought
Yep.
maybe ICE had gone too far.
Yep.
And then you had about a third who said, no, it's Goldilocks. Everything
Right.
they've done has been perfect. And then you had the third, 31% exactly, that said, damn it, they're not being brutal enough.
Right.
Now, you got to wonder when you got it down to 35% nationwide, and you're down to like 70-ish% of the Republican Party still approving.
Yeah, the world is not looking like you thought it was going to look this year.
Yeah, and so what I'm saying is he somehow now has to get some of those Republicans think things have gone too far. Some of them think he hasn't been tough enough. And so, and this plays out in Iran too. Some of them want him to go finish the job, go in and take the,
bounce the rubble.
Yeah. And some of them are like, wait, you told us no more forever wars. So this is my point. There, you can literally see the chasm now in the Republican base itself. And that's why that's why he's down to 35. It goes lower. It's because he's losing even more of what was once a pretty, 85, 90%.
Pretty cohesive
somebody
base
on Fifth Avenue, and he must have had a good reason. That's no longer happening, even in his own party.
Yeah, that's so right. That's so right, Joe. And folks, when you look at independent voters, which Joe and I obsess over independent voters because they really do. They're the decision makers in this world. You look at Florida. The fastest growing party in Florida is not the Republicans and the Democrats. It's independent voters, non-party affiliated voters. Those people around the country on every issue under the sun with Trump are about 2.5 to 3 to 1 against Trump in every issue, whether it's the economy or healthcare or Iran or tariffs or Epstein or any other thing. 2.5 to 3 to 1 ratio against him is fatal to a lot of these candidates because they don't get the celebrity bounce Trump gets. Well,
the other problem they've got is he's pushed away everybody. I mean, he pushed away Latinos with, we can go into all, including attacking the Pope. They're very Catholic.
That's a great play. Always attack the Pope.
Yeah.
The Holy Father, easy target. Nothing ever goes wrong with that with Catholics. Don't worry
Independents are like 25, 75, 25 approve, 75 disapprove. And so that's the problem these guys have because they have to hug him. They don't hug him. Look at Cornyn, et cetera. They don't hug him. They're going to lose. They got problems. If they do hug him now, which they got to do. So just because basically MAGA doesn't vote when he's not in a midterm on the ballot in midterm anyway. So they've got to hang on to him. And the problem with that is he's already pushed everybody away. And if you're going to Susan Collins, she can't hug Trump. I mean, it's just, every one of these Republicans in the Senate and the House are he's put them in a corner, painted himself in there, and they can't get out and they can't leave him. And so that is why I think, this election reminds me a hell of a lot of 1980 in terms of we had, Carter, double-digit inflation, inflation, et cetera, misery index, economy, gas lines, the Iranian hostages that Shad come and
it sounds like history not repeating, but rhyming.
Right. And here's the thing. I went, it was my first year, working in politics and in the presidential campaign, my first one. Mm-hmm. And I remember going, looking at going into election day, and everybody thought there were 3, maybe 4 Democratic U.S. senators who were in trouble. Right. And that night, 12. And they were all giants, by the way. They were like, like giants in the Senate. 12 lost. 8 of them who no one thought the day before were in any kind of, that may have been a close race, but he's going to, And I just have looking at independents in particular, looking at things like the double haters voting 8-2 for Democrats in these states where we're seeing, exit polls for the votes. That's why I say it's not a blue wave. This is going to be that kind of a change wave.
Yeah.
And now that was a presidential year, and Reagan had a lot to do. Reagan was the contrast with Carter. But I think this is a referendum on Trump. It's a disaster for the Republican Party. And I think places like Kansas, Mississippi, you could wake up and we could have a Democratic U.S. senator in a place like Kansas or Mississippi actually happen this cycle, because I think it's going to be that big in terms of just the rejection of everything that Trump and MAGA have become. What's fascinating about this is Plattner toxic, is the Democratic brand toxic. I keep saying, no, there's something more toxic than the Democratic brand, no matter how toxic you think it is. It's MAGA and Trump.